Alright, we should be back live here. And let me continue with my chat addiction by logging back into IRC. Let me go ahead. So, alright, so what we're looking at right now is...
We're back on right now?
Yeah, we're back on. We're talking right now. Alright, so what we're looking at right now is, of course, we have... Jaedong leading by 1. Now, I didn't really have a lot of predictions for this. I know people were asking at first kind of what were our predictions for the match. I didn't really have a lot of predictions. I mean, I know obviously Jaedong certainly generally is a favored player. Yeah, you know what? I think IRC was lagging this real quick. I just want to see if... I'm trying to see if I can have IRC open and still run... I think the stream's okay now. All right, if the stream lags out again, then I am going to go ahead and log out of IRC. So I want to see from you guys who are in chat right now on SE2GG/chat, what are your predictions for this match? All right, what are the predictions? I want to see a smattering, and let's go with from Jaedong's point of view. So just 3-0 Jaedong, 1-3 Jaedong. Okay, rape does not count as a prediction.
By the way, they're showing right now that those 6 Zerglings that ran in the front door, one...
Cal 3-0 is not going to happen. Sorry, Fritz. I know you really want that, buddy. But
Frank also wants that.
Frank also wants that as well. You guys anyway, kill us, man.
Just by the by, that extra kill came from those 6 Zerglings running in. They actually killed a probe to get past the probes. To get past the cannon.
Oh, you're right.
So that's why there was an extra kill on the Zergling that we didn't kill.
Well, that was, I mean, just to lay it out there, I think even with a couple drone kills by Cal, he still didn't even break open for the amount of probes that Jaedong was able to kill in the beginning. Stuff like that is so big. Okay, we have a lot of 3-0 Jaedong. I gotta say, I don't necessarily think Cal's gonna win, but I think Cal's gonna pull at least a win off.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I think so as well. I think people are probably... I mean, Jaedong's playing really, really well these days, but I don't think he's quite at his peak. Cal, I think, is probably near his peak, though. So, I mean, this is probably a good matchup situation for Cal. Something I was going to say before that match, I'm actually kind of doubting it a little bit now, but I was going to say that Cal actually had a chance to win this series if he played his cards right.
Right.
Just because, he is a really strong player. He's one of the top few Protoss players. I would say probably one of the top 3 Protoss players right now. And, you know, he has a chance. If anyone has a chance against Jaedong, he's going to be one of the few people that does. Right. And I've seen actually a lot of... I don't want to name names because I don't want to put any blame on anyone, but I've seen a few people that do know what they're talking about also predicting that Cal had a good chance at it. So, you know, I'm not going to count him out yet, definitely. I mean, I think that there's plenty of games left, and it could really go either way. Again, I do, you know, just based on that performance, it looks like Jaedong is going to win the series. But Cal is a very, very smart player, and I think he's probably going to get over it and try and do something. He's probably got some other builds planned for other maps, and he's going to pull out at least a game. And hopefully we'll see a nice comeback into an epic 5-game, 57-minute finale, uber me not having any sleep ever in the series.
So what do you think, Steve? I mean, you're the Protoss player. You saw what just happened there. Cal definitely started off safe with double cannons, but the run-by still happened. He didn't get enough probes up for that. I mean, what do you think? The next match, you can see the map right there, is on Fighting Spirit, so it is a larger map, considered maybe easier to hold your natural.
I think that Cal honestly should I mean, on Match Point, I think Match Point would have been a really strong map for Protoss. Yeah. Given that the third gas is so far away on Match Point, really that's a match that Cal really would have wanted to take, I think. And I really think that Jaedong's build, which, like I said, we've been kind of seeing a little more of those quick pulls. I just think it's a really awesome way that Zergs have been reacting to the new maps. You know, Zergs they've been arguing that Zergs have been kind of a little imbalanced recently, so they started making some of these new maps, and a lot of these maps, they've incorporated that farther away third gas, and that really hurts a Zerg. And it looks like we are going to get onto the second game here. But yeah, Fighting Spirit, I think, is a map that's a little more balanced. I mean, all the maps are pretty balanced, but Match Point was 14 games to 17 in favor of Protoss. Fighting Spirit is 15 and 13 in favor of Zerg, so all pretty even, but I do think this is a better map for Jaedong than the last match.
Real quick, just starting off, this is Matt and Steve with Matt and Steve SC with Moletrap as well here. We are commentating these games live, so pardon if there's any issues with lag or anything like that. This is Game 2 of the semifinals here, Jaedong versus Flash. We are Cal. God, I got to tell you guys real quick. In uploading the teaser that we posted on YouTube to let people know of this, I literally got to the upload part with Cal versus Flash instead of Cal versus Jaedong because I was so out of it today, and then realized, holy crap, I need to pull this off. So, anyways, this is Jaedong versus Cal, not Jaedong versus Flash. If Jaedong continues with how he's been playing, we might see a Jaedong versus Flash in the finals, which I think would be wholeheartedly epic. So, the map here is Fighting Spirit, as you guys saw before. Steve mentioning a few things about it. I've definitely seen longer games on this map. I think this map definitely can bode well for longer games. Just the massive distance. Now, we do see Cal here. He is going to scout in the right direction immediately. Meanwhile, Jaedong scouting to the left. So, this time Cal is going to be able to get the early scout, something he wasn't able to get last game correctly because he was defending from the Zerglings in his base. So, just little things like this in the beginning of the game, and Cal actually able to get sight on what Jaedong's doing, hopefully will give Cal a little bit more confidence in this game.
Oh, he almost turned around a little bit too early. And players almost never do that, but for some reason, like in the last month...
I've seen the same thing.
In the last month, we've seen like 3 pro gamers miss a scout because they go in and just a couple pixels not far enough, and then turn around thinking that they haven't scouted the right location, and then it turns out that they actually just missed out on the scout completely. Right. So Cal almost doing that, and then finally going back in to get that scout after all. Anyway... so things looking to turn out relatively normal. We're not probably going to see any kind of... it doesn't look like Jaedong is going to do any kind of too early of pressure here. Yeah. I mean, obviously you could still see some pressure, but he doesn't seem... Well, actually, no. Well, he did get an overpool out, so he could try for something.
It's pretty... Yeah, I mean, it's fairly standard on a larger map like this. I mean, if you can get the pull out and you can still defend a second base, no problem. You can still get your natural up, which is going up right now. So the natural's going up. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another 3-hatch build coming up from Jaedong. That was obviously very strong in the last game. He was able to mass up the Zerglings very quickly. We do see the drone not able to get up the second hatchery quite yet here, or the I'm sorry, yeah, there we go. Hatchery should be going up any time now. One thing you'll notice, and Steve had mentioned this in an earlier game that we had cast, is the fact that the drone scout a lot of times is sent out, or the drone for the hatchery is sent out before you even have the minerals. So when the Protoss player thinks he's keeping from the hatchery going up, he's actually not. So that's what we saw there. Hatchery going up, normal timing, so far standard from both players.
Well, one good piece of information Cal is going to see is that the gas is just now going up in Jaedong's original base there. So he didn't get a really quick gas, so that means he's probably not going to have Zergling speed as fast, and he did get his hatchery, his second hatchery before that. So we're probably not going to see really early pressure from Jaedong. I do expect Jaedong to continue opening with these pool builds first, though, except for maybe on a map like Ultimatum, which is one that's coming up, which is a really big map. Yeah. I'd expect probably a 12-hatch on that. But again, I just think these pool build first, pool first builds have been really effective recently in Zerg vs Protoss, and even versus Terran, just because it allows you to get the tech up, allows you to get the Zerglings out a little bit faster. You're able to just put a lot more pressure on your opponent, and Jaedong is a player that has the extra APM to put that pressure on and continue macroing at his base. So Cal, like you said, doing a good job getting the scout in here. This is a 4-player map, so obviously there's a little bit of a bigger distance there between the bases, but both players already know where they're at. In the meantime, though, Jaedong does have his third hatchery, and Cal hasn't scouted that. Cal is very smartly setting his probot there to the left, though, so if he does scout that, scout that,
is that the 7 o'clock down there?
That's the 7 o'clock base for Jaedong.
I thought there was something
So
else.
Jaedong's lair going down, so it looks like we're seeing pretty natural timing. I think that Jaedong should be getting Mutalisk on this map, just because the natural base of Cal is going to be really easy to harass on Fighting Spirit. They're not showing it right now, but there's a cliff right behind those mineral lines, and so Mutalisks are going to be very strong to harass that, and it's also just because it's a big map, I think having air dominance is going to be really important on this map.
Yeah, I think things are going pretty well, actually, for Cal this time around, though. He got that early scout in, and he's really, really made use of that early scout. His probe finally going down, but it saw pretty much everything he needed to. He didn't quite get the lair timing, but he's going to be in good shape for that. Critically, he put down his gateway earlier. He only had to put down a single cannon because that probe went back in there. He stopped harassing the hatchery so he could go back in and see how many Zerglings were being made. He didn't see any Zerglings being made, so he was able to kind of save up money and go for the tech and stuff instead. And so he's going to be faring a lot better in this game, is what I'm thinking, just by having that early scout and being able to really, really, do well. If he'd scouted the wrong direction, probably would have had to put down 2 cannons before anything, unless he sent out a second probe. So just by that early scout, just little things can make a really big difference. So, hopefully we'll see some. I'm rooting for Cal in this game because he's got a good chance now, and so we can see more. So we can see more games. Don't want just the 3-0. We want a nice epic series here. Going on. Anyway, he is actually upgrading at his cybernetics core. Probably going to be air weapons is what I'm thinking. I think it's a little bit too early for a normal Dragoon thing, unless he's planning on something like that. But it's probably going to be air weapons, which means we're probably going to see him make more Corsairs is what I'm thinking. Try and take control of the air from Jaedong.
Yeah, certainly, but we did see 2 gateways also going really fast in the main base of Cal, and he also already has 2 Dragoons out. So they're showing that range spinning out, or it could be range, or like you said, the usual +1.
We'll see more Zealots pop or more Dragoons, maybe.
If he were to do a timing push like that, Jaedong would be probably pretty vulnerable right now because he's getting hatcheries up. He's not going to be building a lot of units. He's just putting down his 4th and 5th hatchery. Cal just scouted that. So if Cal is going for this build also we're talking about is basically we've seen Cal do it against like Hyuk, where you just get a bunch of gateways down, and it's a really strong timing push where you just move out with Dragoons. We're already actually see Cal maybe even moving out just with these 3 goons and these Zealots. Jaedong is going to see that coming. It looks like he's going to put down 1 Sunken or Creep Colony to get a Sunken. He does have Corsairs out Scourge out to take out these Corsairs, but already 2 Corsairs out are going to get the first Overlord there, and we do see a pretty big force coming down for Cal already on the map.
You can tell that Jaedong's onto this because he's put his colony out in front. Normally, the Sim City that they do, they put the colonies behind the buildings to stop Zealots, which is the normal early attack, and he's kind of seen that. He's making a lot of Zerglings and forward Sun colonies to kind of deal with it. Cal stuck out in the open. He's going to be able to micro a long way back to his base here. But, oh my gosh, the Zerglings going in for a surround. They do have speed upgrade, and that's going to be really, really bad for Cal here. Jaedong just picking the exact counter to what Cal was doing, going with some mass speedlings here. He's going to be able to chase Cal all the way back to his base. And Cal, instead of using what Jaedong was doing, where normally the Zerg would be defending against Zealots.
My God.
Man, that Dragoon
Brilliant.
got destroyed. Wow, so Jaedong, that's absolutely amazing. He saw it coming. I don't even know if he saw it coming that quickly, but he adapted extremely quickly, made a bunch of Zerglings when he realized what was going on, and I think it was when that Dragoon popped out in front of the gateway and started attacking the Zerglings. Yeah. He's like, wait a minute, there's 3 Dragoons here. There should be more Zealots instead of so many Dragoons, and kind of figured out what was going on there. So a really, really smart move by Cal. I really want to give him credit for that, but Jaedong, Jesus, just seeing through it,
this is how confident this player is. I mean, he has 1 sunken colony. You see Zerg players go for 2, even 3 when they see something like that because they're worried about it. I mean, obviously, a strong early mid game Dragoon and Zealot push can be absolute death. You can take out the natural of the Zerg player, and then even if you lose your units, you can just keep macroing from there and pumping out gateways. We do see the archives going up right now, so the High Templars are going to start coming out here. But that's just really a shame because, again, in this game, Cal he's unable to really do any sort of harassment to Jaedong. You do see the Mutalisks just now coming out. They, of course, weren't coming out earlier. Wasn't enough gas being mined, and the Spire was later. So, but notice that, Jaedong didn't necessarily go right away to Hydralisk either. So, I mean, I think Jaedong is definitely keeping Cal under suspense here as he goes in. And looks like the stream lagging just a little bit there. There we go. Stream's back up and running.
Well, the good news is for the Cal is this build wasn't that all-in. It wasn't the all-in Dragoon build I thought he was going for, and it looks like some action going on here. I can't quite see on the screen because it's lagging a little bit, but it looks like Jaedong did try to go in there with some Scourge, but Cal very smartly hold positioning his Corsairs there and being able to take those Scourge out. We do see a big force of Mutalisks here for Jaedong, but yeah, this build definitely wasn't all in for Cal. You can even see that he had +1 up on his Corsairs, which means he wasn't upgrading Goon range, he was upgrading +1 from the beginning. So from the beginning, he intended to make a pretty strong push, maybe do some damage to Jaedong with those Goons and Zealots, which obviously he's probably disappointed he didn't do, but at this point he does still have a lot of gateways, and it looks like Jaedong going in for a little bit of attack here. He does break through the wall a little bit, but that Archon very, very well able to hold that off, and Cal very smartly bringing his whole army back, so Jaedong is not going to be able to get through there. But yeah, Cal really isn't behind at all at this point. he did get a couple goons out just to make a little push there. It looks like Dark Templar is going to come in and does make it past the ball. Now it's in the base here, but unfortunately no drones there just yet, so only going to be able to harass this hatchery. Maybe force Jaedong to cancel that hatchery, but unlikely if Jaedong just gets an Overlord there. But yeah, I think Cal is in pretty good shape. I really like that push with the Dragoons. Obviously didn't do any damage, but at this point he got those early gateways up, and now you're seeing the difference. He has a very large force compared to the last game because he wasn't nearly as harassed. He's got the good economy he needs. He has the gateways up. Like you said, he's got Storm on the way. So right now he's in good shape. He just put down his second Citadel, or not Citadel, second Stargate.
That'd be awesome if he did that.
Second Stargate. So he's going to have a lot of Corsairs. At this point, though, I think it might be a little too late. Jaedong does have a large Scourge and Mutaforce out, but it looks like Cal is pushing down the map towards this base on the bottom left. We're going to have to see if Jaedong does have Sunkens there. In the meantime, though, Jaedong is moving up for the large force of Mutalisks. 2 cannons there is not enough to protect, but with the Corsairs, he will be able to. What are Jaedong's Mutalisks, or what are Jaedong's Scourge doing? Jaedong's Scourge not with the Mutas. Poor Marco by Jaedong, but he does come in and kill a lot of Scourge, or kill a lot of Corsairs, but in the meantime, Cal is here on the front. Jaedong smartly having 4 Sunken Colonies there. It's going to be really hard for Cal to break through. Cal doesn't have a lot of Dragoons, so unfortunately he's not going to be able to attack those Sunkens, but the Evo Chamber does go down. Jaedong is pulling his drones a little bit, and it looks like, yeah, the front is broken. Those Sunkens are going to go down a little bit. I'm not sure if Cal is going to be able to have enough to affect any damage to this hatchery, though, once these Zerglings coming from behind.
Oh my gosh.
Jaedong bringing all his Zerglings in from behind, and I think he is going to take out this whole force, and again, no damage done to that hatchery, so effectively, Cal just lost his whole army there.
Well, how quick can Cal macro back up? So this is the question. No player... Oh, and coming in here, actually taking down the food counter, taking down the... taking down Overlords for Jaedong, so trying to cripple Jaedong. I know Jaedong had a bunch of Overlords grouped up before, and these Corsairs are finding the Overlords, so this actually could be a problem for Jaedong if he gets supply blocked. There's the grouping of Overlords there. Oh my god, the splash damage. He's taken out like 6 Overlords so far. That actually is going to be huge. Jaedong losing tons and tons of Overlords, bringing in Zealots to take out the Zerglings that were going to try to take out that expansion there on the right side. So even though... Oh my god! Jaedong built Scourge. Oh, and a Scourge sandwich coming in here. A crunchy Corsair sandwich for the Scourge. Unfortunately, not able to get all of them, but Jaedong, before he lost all the Overlords, just hit SS as much as he could on his hatcheries to try to build a bunch of Scourge. That was actually not a bad idea, but he's going to have to be hitting Overlords now to try to replenish. They're the Overlords right now. Obviously, Jaedong has a lot of hatcheries, so that's not a huge deal. Even being supply blocked for just a brief moment. So my question is, Cal, where's your macro? We need to see Cal getting gateways up. I'm assuming at this point he's building them. I don't see a lot of ground units out on the field, so I'm hoping Cal can get the macro up, get the High Templars out. Let's push into the mid game here and try to take some map control, because if he doesn't do that, then this is going to be a tough game for him. Although certainly at this point, both players still have, strong economies going right now. They're still fairly even as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that was very interesting to see, basically the first mistake that Jaedong has made all day with going in with the Mutalisks to attack
and
everything,
not Scourge.
And not the Scourge to follow up, and lost almost all of his Mutalisks before the Scourge came in, then lost all of his Scourge, only took out a couple, 2-3 Corsairs, and then Cal took advantage of that. He was already going in for that opportunity. He saw all those Lings on the ground, knew there was nothing in the air and no Hydras, and just sent the Corsairs out and really took advantage there and was able to use that distraction to get his third base up. So Cal is actually looking he's looking really good right now. He's got complete air superiority. He won't be able to do too much damage because there's some spores around now and some Scourge and some Hydras, but he's got mostly air superiority, and he's starting to get his army back up as well. Next time around, though, he's definitely going to need some Templar attack. That's basically what he needs to really take that last battle. Oh my gosh, just tons of Corsairs. When you have that many Corsairs, they can just go around just pillaging everything, destroying Overlords without even thinking about it. And actually, yeah, he has some decent ground forces Zealots too, so that's a really good combination of units there.
My god! So close!
Is he going to see him? Is he going to see him?
Come
He's
on.
Checking the main. The Hydralisks are probably coming back as we speak. 2 Lurkers coming in as the cannons warp in. The Probe's trying to kill the cannon. The Probes kill the Lurker before it burrows.
Hero Probes, baby!
The second Lurker does get burrowed, though, and is going to be able to stop mining at that new base for a little bit. Cal's probably going to be able to take care of it before too well.
Are we going to see a Zealot splash trick here?
Does he have observers?
Zealot splash trick.
Cal does have his robotics facility.
Splash trick. Nice.
Cal does have his robotics facility. Yeah, you're seeing that he's able to target his own Zealot there. to do splash damage to kill that Wonder. So, little pro move there. I don't think he has observers out yet. He's still killed his Zealot.
Zealot's like, dude, bro, come on, bro, get off my back. Bro, what are you doing, man? Come on. What about last Friday?
But yeah, Moltrap, I'm really glad you mentioned that Muta attack because I do think that was the most important point in this game so far because Jaedong gave up the air dominance. If he had been able to keep that Scourge count down for Cal would not have been able to have this map dominance and allow him to get his third up. Now that Cal has his third up, Jaedong is just now getting his fourth base in the bottom left with some drone saturation. You see now, yes, he's finally got that up, but he hasn't had that for quite a while. So they're going to be pretty evened out, but I think that Cal for a little bit actually had an advantage having that third base up. Right. Now both players having a pretty big economy going, so yeah, definitely going to see a pretty big game here. But definitely having the air superiority with all those Corsairs is a huge advantage. And again, this is exactly what I was talking about on this map. Because it's a large map, because there's a lot of cliffs, air superiority is just really important. Jaedong had those Mutalisks out, but now he's had to pretty much give it up. He hasn't really been making Scourge. He does have his first Defilers out there. You can see the Hive Tech up in the Defilers mound. Jaedong putting a lot of hatcheries all around the map, so he's definitely going to be able to pump units like crazy here. But, he was able to exploit the little weakness in not having observers, but you can see the first observer is out for Cal. So at this point, both players have pretty much all the tech they want at this point. It's going to be just a micro-macro battle here. And I gotta say that's just such a huge advantage that Cal has. You can see those Overlords just all grouped together, and Cal's just searching for him. And again, he's going to see them. A lot of Hydras though protecting this time, so I think the window's closed a little bit for Cal.
I was worried about that. There you go.
I was like, plague.
And a really big plague on those Corsairs.
This is huge right now because Steve mentioned air superiority, which is huge when you're playing against a Zerg. Because what can Cal do? He can sit back and move his army out on the map. He can have High Templars and not worry about necessarily getting them sniped. He can bring things out. That right there, just that plague, means he is now vulnerable on those Corsairs. Now, he has another group of Corsairs as well. He has two groups of Corsairs going around the map, which is why this is so ridiculous.
I think you combined them now.
Yeah, okay, so they might be combined into one.
It's like a dozen Corsairs, and they're +1 or +2 upgrades, right. So they're still formidable.
They're still formidable, but it's just, again, it's a little itch in his mind. It's knowing that now he has weakened Corsairs. Now it's going to be a little bit less. We do see shuttle play coming in, though, so we might see a drop coming up here.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to try and drop some DTs here in the back. He's got those Corsairs to make sure there's no Overlords in the area, and they can easily dive in there and make zero. Well, there's a spore colony, so never mind. This is not going to work at all whatsoever. But he's still going to drop the DTs in there. They might be able to, just because there's a spore there, there's actually no sunken, so they can still run in there and kill the spore pretty quickly. And what did he forget one? He forgot one of his DTs.
Hey guys, here you go.
He's like, hey, wait, I was asleep. I missed the drop. You gotta go back. Again, sorry about the lag that we're experiencing here that we're recasting, but looks like it's pretty much cleared up, so that's cool. But yeah, Cal getting his fourth base up now. Oh, and there you go. There's that vulnerability right now. Cal getting his Corsairs chopped in half with
couple shots.
Just a few shots from those Hydras now. And, he's got some more to back up, though. But Jaedong has a ton of units on the map now. He's really, really getting a huge army out in the middle of the map. And it's going to come down to if Cal can storm the crap out of it or not.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, we see the large army coming out here. Of course, Steve mentioned Defiler plays you guys have been seeing here. Here we go. This huge map. If you can see the mini-map, even though it's not the best quality, there's a giant blue mass moving up here. And I can't see the food count, but I would say that at this point, cracklings are up, as you can see there, although not quite enough. Cal does have a lot of cannons, even though there's nothing mining there. I would have to say at this point that Jaedong might be maybe 30 or 40 ahead of the food count, just from what I'm looking at here. Well, maybe if you're not counting probes, I suppose. But we do have an attack coming in here. Another great plague, getting quite a few units there as well. I mean, Cal definitely has less units out on the field, but he also has High Templars, which can make up for less units. So.
Yeah, and Cal also now getting the Rabach support base, so we might see some Reavers pretty soon, which is the critical key element that we've been seeing a lot in ZVP lately. That's a critical element you need to break down the door. Like Moltrap was saying earlier, and it looks like we're seeing some maybe High Templar. No, just Zealots in here, but no Sunkens or anything in this base, so actually a few Zealots could do some damage if they target those drones. They do. Two already going down. It looks like that shuttle taking one Scourge, but doing actually a pretty decent amount of damage there. But at the same time, moving DTs in there, we're going to be testing the multitasking of Jaedong here. He's going to go straight for that Spore Colony, but Cal not really targeting. No, he's not going straight for the Spore Colony. So
Overlord there.
Yeah, there's an Overlord there too, so it doesn't really matter. So it looks like like Cal not doing a lot of damage, but at the same time, Jaedong testing Cal's multitasking ability, putting up a swarm up here in the base of Cal. Cal might lose his base here.
Look at the plague!
A lot of goons, but a big plague. It looks like we do have a reroute at one base, and there's a good side storm, so I do think Cal is going to hold this. He does have the Archon, which is really good, but then again, some more Overlords coming in here in the main base of Cal. I believe that's main base, yes, so big drop here in the main base. Both players, just forces in 4 different places on the map going on. Cal's attacks really haven't done much, but Jaedong in the meantime has brought his forces in here and use those Overlords to get them in there quick, but some big storms here could take out a lot of Hydras. They can take out a lot of Hydras. Huge storms for Cal. Huge storms for Cal. And Jaedong does still have 2 lurkers left, but I think that's going to get cleaned up. And again, Cal has maintained pretty much map dominance for the most part, at least on his half of the map. It's allowed him to get his 4th base up in the top left, but we are seeing Jaedong put a lot of pressure on now. Does have the swarm, is coming in with a lot of Hydras, really good storms holding him off, and that's a pretty powerful force of Dragoons. It looks like Defiler there, out of energy, not able to do anything else, but there's no Zealots or anything else to back this up, so the Dragoons are going to have to retreat. It looks like Jaedong does have a bigger standing army on the map, so at this point Jaedong is gaining map control. He is going to probably go up to this top base in the top left at about the 12 o'clock position. If Jaedong can take out any one of these bases, he's going to be in a huge lead. And you can see the Ultralis Cavern going down now. Jaedong has a huge economy. He's maybe even has a base at the top left. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, he does.
Jaedong, another thing he's doing very smartly, he has Nidus Canals at his bases. You can see just right there, Nidus Canals, so he can reinforce at any position on the map. Those are some mistakes that some lesser players would do, but Jaedong just not making any mistakes here, and Cal playing a really good game, but I do think it is slipping a little bit as Jaedong does try to force some units here out Cal's base. He is trying to push in the natural hill, a little bit of plague going off there, but he doesn't have a whole lot of units there. Those same lurkers, are those the same lurkers that have been seeing?
They've been taking shots at every single new Zealot that's been popping out of the gateways. And this is a huge attack coming in here. Oh my god, able to take out the bay there, and of course we are starting to lose the stream there. Oh wow, giant plague going off here, and this could be close to the end of the game. I don't see any High Templar able to defend this right there. The High Templar are out, but do they have enough energy? No!
GG!
Wow! Woo!
Oh my god!
Jaedong, despite a mistake with the Mutalisk and an attack that seemed to even out the game in the middle, Jaedong just taking hatcheries after hatcheries, able to just mine the base. You can see, one thing I respect about Cal is he's still smiling. He still knows this is a game. He's not defeated. I feel like even after a loss like that, man, he did play very, very well. But did you see the multitasking? Not only was Jaedong testing Cal's multitasking, he was testing our multitasking. Because I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on at 5 different locations on the map. He had an attack on the base. He had a drop in the main. He had swarms going off in the middle of the map.
I think,
he was defending off the Dark Templars.
I think within a matter of like 15 seconds, we had a Zealot drop in the bottom right. We had DTs going into the bottom left. We had swarms and Hydras and Plagues going in the top left. We had a drop going into Cal's main. We had attacks going on in the middle, and all at the same time that they were both macroing, what have you. And I think that's why Jaedong won the game. It was pretty even in the beginning. They both played really, really well, but Jaedong just completely out macroed Cal is kind of what it seemed like to me. Because in the middle there was a little bit of a lull, and Cal let him get away with building up his economy, and then Jaedong just had infinite units all of a sudden.
Well, and Cal was slow to macro as well. I mean, you noticed when Jaedong, about the time Jaedong was taking his 4th base, or very close to, Cal had like maybe 3 or 4 gateways up. So, that's also one thing as well, that, he was slower to kind of get to that point. Jaedong was kind of moving towards that point the entire time, as of course you tend to do as a Zerg player. I'm going to refresh the streams here to see if we can get this up so we can watch some wonderful Korean commercials.
Well, I think about the mid-game, Cal was in a very strong position. He had a very large army across the map. When he had all those Corsairs out, he did have the map control. He had taken down a lot of Overlords of Jaedong, so I think he was at a very strong position at that point, but he still hadn't done any damage to Jaedong's economy, and he really needed to get some kind of harassment in, and that's what he was trying to do with those DT drops and the Zealot drops, so it was a really good idea. He really needed to do that, but it was a little bit late, and I think the execution just wasn't that good. His DTs did no damage. The Zealots got a few drones, but then stopped attacking the drones to defend themselves, so really he killed only a few drones at that point, and like Moltrap said, or I don't know if you said it, Matt, it was kind of too late at that point because Jaedong had so many hatcheries. Even when Jaedong was getting his Overlords killed and everything else, he was still expanding like crazy. He wasn't just sitting idly by, so even though it looked like Cal did have an advantage, he did have a really good map control, Jaedong put up a bunch of hatcheries, and at that point in the game when Cal got overran, I mean, that was too late at the point for Cal to come back. I mean, even with 4 bases, It's just, Jaedong was probably sitting on, 6, 7, 8 hatcheries, and at that point, you can just macro up an army so much faster than the Cal. So I don't think Cal's macro really failed him, but I do think that, maybe his multitasking is just not quite up to the par, considering, how good Jaedong is at multitasking. So, maybe just a little bit, outplayed a little bit in terms of multitasking.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. I mean, as much as I do, I am a fan of Cal. I have really respected a lot of what he's done. I mean, the people he's beat to get here. I mean, of course, Jaedong, had a much easier path here through Fire Fist and Crazy Hydra and people like that. All right, we see this was the attack here going in on the 4 sunken colonies, and this is what you were talking about earlier, Moltrap. And there again, where the Scourge taking out the majority of the Corsairs after the Corsairs took out the Mutalists.
He only took out about 3 Corsairs, I think. Maybe 4, but...
maybe 4 out of 7.
Like 3,
maybe the majority.
No, actually 3 out of 7
All right,
is
fine,
not the majority.
Fine, whatever. Split hairs, Mr. Mathematician. But no, here's the attack going in, and again, this is, I think, when Steve was commentating this, or maybe it was Moltrap, just not getting enough kills. You see the Archons popping there, you see drones pretty much still mining, just going back and minding their own business here, or mining their own business. Oh, man, that's terrible.
All right.
Anyways, but then after this, even though the stream froze, there was the Zergling surround that came down and pretty much just mopped this up. And there's the Zergling surround coming in right now. So Jaedong just, again, attack coming in, build a bunch of Zerglings that are all Speedlings, and then wipe out this attack. All this time, he's still, at this point, he's on 4 bases, probably 6 hatcheries.
I think that joke means it's time to pause the YouTube recording.
Oh, yes.
So,
we're done.
Just so you know, though, this game has just brought Jaedong's streak to 13 wins in a row versus Protoss.
Ooh, sexy.
Wow. I mean, if he makes it 14, he's going to take a 3-0 right here. It looks like he's on that kind of a roll.
Right.
Let's go ahead and find out. Again, those of you watching on the live stream, stick around. We're going to keep chatting.
All right.